A loud screeching halt noise is heard as the young boy looks up from the ground, frozen in shock as he sees the huge truck before everything goes black. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself transformed into a girl. Just as Lady Elena slips and falls due to a banana peel in the fancy and resplendent corridors of the dazzling building of the Royal Academy, is the moment she remembers her past life as a guy. The typical high school guy you could find anywhere. That accident that day cost him his life. Her servants quickly rush over to make sure she is alright. She wonders why a banana peel is in a gorgeously decorated hallway anyways, and that's when she remembers the simulation game her sister from her past life used to play. The banana peel, the name Elena, the uniform, the face, all of this feels too familiar. She has been reincarnated in a dating sim game called Princess Knight as the heroine's rival, the villainous Elena. The servants whisper to each other in hushed voices. They are always careful with their attitudes around her to avoid her anger. This is what Elena's reputation is like in the game. In the story, each time she has a tragic ending, death, exile to another country, or condemnation. No matter what path you choose, she always gets a well-deserved bad ending. She has not played the game herself and has only seen snippets when her sister played in front of her. Just then, a soft and sweet voice calls out to Elena. Her heart starts running wild as she sees who it is. It's Tiara, the main protagonist. Despite her situation, she can't deny that she is cute. One of the reasons Elena is condemned in the game is because of her bad attitude towards the protagonist. So, deciding to play it safe, she gives a polite response, saying that she is perfectly fine and there is no need to worry. Tiana is amused at the difference in her behavior and feels touched at how nice Elena is being. The undeniable beauty of the innocent-looking Tiana strikes a thought in Elena's head. What if she goes for the Yuri route? Could a Yuri route between the villainess and the heroine be possible? If there is no such thing as a Yuri route in this game, then she is willing to make it possible by herself. The only way for her to avoid her doom now is to develop love between girls. Therefore, she has to start by becoming friends with her first. After a lot of stuttering, she manages to invite her to lunch. Tiana happily says yes, excited that Elena even wants to spend time with a commoner like her, and so the Yuri route has begun. On second thoughts, it probably hasn't. Rather than a romantic moment, it's just two girls having lunch. However, there is still a chance. All she has to do is become someone close to Tiana, and the Yuri route will be hers. During lunch, Tiana is very lively and joyful, even offering her tamagoyaki. But she quickly realizes that it might not be suitable for a royal palate. Even this is enough to give Elena a nosebleed. She quickly tries to calm down, reminding herself that this is normal between girls. But to make things worse, Tiana leans in to check if she is okay. The nosebleed gets worse, knocking Elena out cold. This panics poor Tiana. Time skips. Both of them are now peacefully walking as Elena apologizes for causing a scene, saying it is probably because she has been out in the sun for too long. All of a sudden, a voice calls out for Elena. She turns around to look at who it is, and there he is, Master Lance, Elena's new rival in her quest to reach the Yuri route. Lancelot Rain has one of the routes in the game. He is the student council president of the Royal Academia and also Elena's fiancé. Elena recalls the ending of his route, in which Elena is given a life sentence after she tries to frame Tiara for a crime. Therefore, she decides to play it safe and just try to stay on his good side. Master Lance bows down and kisses Elena's hand like a true gentleman. Having the mind of a dude, she cannot help but want to punch him in the face. She tries her best to control her anger and introduces Tiara. Lance has already heard rumors about her because of her amazing performance during the magic test. Elena observes the interaction between Lance and Tiara with a growing sense of unease. This is exactly how it began in the original game, the heroine slowly forming a bond with one of the capture targets, especially Lance. Elena, who has invested so much effort into avoiding her doomed fate, fears that this moment may mark the beginning of the very scenario she has tried to prevent. However, Lance surprises her. He remains composed, his demeanor calm and professional, and simply hands her a list of candidates for the student council. Elena stares at the list, taken aback. In her mind, she begins to question whether Lance is even a normal adolescent boy. Perhaps his constant exposure to beautiful girls has made him immune to their charms, or maybe he's simply different. She finds herself frustrated, not only by Lance's audacity, but also by her own inability to anticipate his behavior. Her eyes land on Tiara's name. A chill runs through her. The thought of Tiara joining the student council sets off alarm bells in her head. It would place her directly in Lance's orbit, making it dangerously easy for the two to grow closer. Determined to prevent this outcome, Elena makes a plan, a reverse matchmaking strategy designed to keep the two apart. Her first goal is to portray Tiara as unsuitable for student council responsibilities, but this plan quickly begins to falter. Tiara, with her kind demeanor, innocent charm, and impeccable behavior, proves to be nearly flawless. There's nothing to criticize. Frustrated, Elena resorts to a different tactic, framing Tiara's life circumstances as a reason for her unavailability. She presents Tiara as someone burdened with academic responsibilities and part-time jobs to support her parents. Elena emphasizes Tiara's dedication, her daily efforts to excel in her studies, and the hardships she has faced, from losing her parents at a young age to being shuffled from one foster home to another, until she finally found a loving family. Elena paints such a sincere and heartfelt picture of Tiara that she ends up highlighting her virtues more than her limitations. Lance is visibly surprised. He hadn't expected such fervent praise from Elena. He listens carefully, nodding thoughtfully, and assures her that he'll keep her words in mind while selecting the council members. Meanwhile, Tiara has overheard everything. Her expression shifts into something unreadable, half astonishment, half uncertainty. She begins to view Elena's actions differently. The warmth in Elena's voice, the concern in her words, all echo in Tiara's mind. Elena tries to explain herself, to make it clear that her intentions are genuine and born out of friendship, but her thoughts tangle, and the embarrassment causes her to falter. Tiara responds with unshaken clarity. She does not question Elena's motives further. Instead, she embraces their bond, taking Elena's actions as proof of something deeper. Elena is left stunned, her mind a storm of emotions. She tries to reason with herself that this is merely affection, not love, but everything inside her feels uncertain. Despite the confusion, a part of her finds comfort in Tiara's warmth. As the days pass, Elena accepts her shifting feelings. With Tiara now growing closer to her, she resolves to fully commit to the Yuri route. If fate insists on dragging her toward destruction through the original paths, she'll take a different one altogether, one that might offer her a new kind of happiness. But fate doesn't make it easy. A few days later, Elena visits Lance again. There, he introduces her to a new member of the student council, Tiara. Smiling, Tiara introduces herself formally as a first-year student and is placed under Elena's care. Lance mentions that after hearing Elena's heartfelt speech earlier, he re-evaluated Tiara's candidacy and suggested her name personally. Elena's blood boils beneath her composed expression. Her attempt to keep Tiara away has backfired spectacularly. Lance, thinking he's doing something considerate, has instead brought her greatest fear to life. His actions, born out of admiration for Elena's sincerity, have only increased his regard for her. But this is not the outcome Elena wanted. She doesn't need his affections to grow, especially not now. As introductions begin, the rest of the student council gathers around Tiara. Among them are Galahad and Percival, second-year students. Galahad refers to Tiara as the rumored freshman, clearly intrigued. The others follow suit, welcoming her with curious smiles. Elena watches from a distance, her eyes darkening. She sees the way they look at Tiara, the way they speak to her, and she can almost feel their intentions. To her, they're like a pack of hyenas circling with interest. She has seen only Lance's ending in the game before, but in every possible route she remembers, her fate remains the same: destruction. And so, with grim determination, she decides that if she wants to survive and carve out her own ending, one free from tragic flags, she must act, for the sake of her happy Yuri ending. One day has passed since Elena became the villainess in a dating sim game. The reality of her new identity hits her once again. She is now a girl. A knock at the door signals the arrival of Mei Ling, the maid assigned to look after her. Mei Ling enters with graceful composure, addressing Elena with formal politeness. Although it would be faster to get ready herself, Elena finds herself helpless when it comes to traditionally feminine routines like hairstyling. Mei Ling attends to her with practiced hands, and once she finishes, Elena offers a quiet word of thanks. The reaction is immediate. Mei Ling looks startled, as if hearing gratitude from Elena is completely unexpected. Elena wonders why such a simple gesture draws such a reaction, but quickly realizes that this body's previous owner had been selfish and cold. So, perhaps to Mei Ling, even the smallest change in behavior feels like a dramatic shift. This world is from Princess Knight, an Otome Game Elena once knew well. Back then, she was an ordinary high school boy, living a normal life. Now, she's been reincarnated into the game as the infamous Villainess. And if she wants to avoid the tragic ending that awaits her, she knows her only hope lies in steering the story toward the Yuri route with the heroine, Tiara. Time passes, and one day Tiara surprises her by bringing sausages shaped like octopuses, handmade just for her. Elena accepts them with curiosity, but as soon as she takes a bite, a sudden nosebleed erupts. Tiara, sitting alarmingly close, gently wipes the blood from her face. The closeness catches Elena off guard. Elena still isn't used to how close girls tend to get to one another. The moment leaves her flustered. Elena tries to compose herself and shifts the conversation to student council matters. Tiara appears to be adjusting well, mentioning that the upperclassmen are all kind to her. Elena smiles, pleased, but probes further, asking who she feels most comfortable with. As the only freshman, Tiara has interacted mostly with upperclassmen, but she insists that Elena is the one who helps her the most. To Tiara, it is Lady Elena she gets along with best. Any man hearing such a thing might feel a bittersweet mix of pride and awkwardness, but for Elena, it only deepens her confusion. She jumps the gun, believing that they are already a couple, but the reality is far from it. Tiara recalls hearing that there should have been another freshman in the council, someone she hasn't met yet. Elena takes note, another rival, but since they haven't appeared yet, there's no point in getting anxious over them. Soon the two of them arrive together at the student council room, where Lance and Galahad are already present. For Elena, the biggest threat in this world remains the male capture targets. Galahad, intellectual and sharp, makes a remark about their tardiness, pointing out the amount of pending work. His tone is critical, his eyes hidden behind glasses. Percival, the airheaded charmer, lightens the mood with his carefree attitude, gently urging Galahad to let it go. Lance approaches Elena, returning the documents she handed over the day before. He leans in to explain the corrections needed, standing far too close for comfort. Elena acknowledges him but silently fumes at his complete disregard for personal space. Despite being her fiancé in this world, she considers him a sleazy snake, casually closing the distance without shame. She resolves once again that no matter what, she cannot let someone like him get close to Tiara. As she moves to fix the papers, Lance suddenly grabs her hand and draws a line across the document with her pen. Elena instantly pulls away, internally screaming about the inappropriate contact. Her reaction is intense, but she swallows it down when she sees his puzzled expression. Of course, in this world, the idea of boundaries is practically non-existent for the popular male leads. If a normal guy did the same, it would be considered unacceptable. But the charm of these handsome characters lets them get away with anything. Seated at the round table during the council meeting, Elena wonders if she could get away with such behavior too. After all, she believes herself to be quite the beauty now. If the Yuri route is truly possible, then maybe she should start acting the part more boldly with Tiara. As if summoned by that thought, Tiara approaches with a query about a document. Elena sees this as her chance. She stands close to Tiara, lifts her chin ever so gently, and offers her a solution. The effect is immediate. Tiara blushes deeply and quickly flees the room, paper in hand. Moments later, Tiara finds herself flustered again, realizing how nice Elena smells. The sensation lingers in her thoughts. Back in the council room, Percival leans toward Galahad, quietly whispering his concern about Elena's recent change in demeanor. Meanwhile, Elena sits still, her gaze locked on Lance, silently marveling at how stunning these capture targets really are. And yet, even as she admires their beauty, she knows exactly who she must pursue. Only the Yuri route will save her. The Royal Academia stands as a prestigious learning institution, tasked with raising future queen candidates and their advisors. In this fantasy world, education goes beyond politics and etiquette. Magic is part of the curriculum. Today's lesson will be a simulation. The students are told to engage with an apparition, and soon a giant golem-like creature appears before them, towering and menacing. The goal is teamwork. Teams must work together to eliminate the monster and prove their worth. Before anyone else can react, Elena steps forward, calm and prepared. Without hesitation, she draws multiple guns, all adorned with ornamental flowers, and unleashes a volley of mana-infused bullets. In a single dazzling moment, the creature collapses. The surrounding girls erupt into applause. They marvel at how Lady Elena ends the battle with a single move. For Elena, it's slightly embarrassing, though she brushes off the praise. This is, after all, the result of the intense training she received as part of a special gifted program meant to prepare her for royalty. Elena is undeniably brilliant. She holds top grades, possesses remarkable beauty, and comes from a noble bloodline. Everything about her screams perfection. She was made to be a rival to the protagonist of the game after all. To others, she is either a figure of admiration or fear. Few see her simply as a person. Later in the garden, a group of boys are playing a game, drawing the irritation of nearby students. Their noise and disregard for the rules are causing complaints. Some plan to report them, but Elena arrives before anyone can take action. The moment she sees the game, she recognizes it instantly. Shamanic Seigball, a magical version of baseball where players infuse the ball with mana and alternate roles between offense and defense. A wave of nostalgia washes over her. She remembers playing grass lot baseball in her previous life, a high school boy running across open fields with his friends. Watching the boys hit the mana-infused ball sparks something inside her. One of the boys notices her staring. The others quickly recognize her as a member of the student council. Suspicion brews among them as she approaches. They assume she's here to scold them. One mocks her, referring to the time she banned students from using the magic training grounds for games. She confirms this, but clarifies in her thoughts that her decision had been made before regaining her past life memories. Now, with her memories restored, she can't justify banning a game that brings her so much nostalgia. Still, the boys challenge her, questioning if she's there to reprimand them again. Elena, unfazed, closes the distance and expresses her wish to join their game. Their shock is instant. They don't believe her. To them, she's a noble lady, a perfect, unreachable beauty. How could someone like her even swing a bat? Elena assures them that she's perfectly capable. She knows her way around baseball. The boys accept her offer, but on one condition. If they manage to hit back the pitch she throws, they win the right to use the training grounds. If they fail, they will stop playing Siegball on campus altogether. Elena finds the challenge amusing. She agrees. Taking the position of pitcher, she wonders briefly if the ball in her hand is regulation size for this world. She considers how to infuse it with mana and decides to replicate the method she used against the golem apparition. One of the boys volunteers as catcher. Elena winds up and throws. The ball multiples and hits each of the boys with perfect accuracy. All the boys hit the ground, groaning in defeat. The spectators gasp. Some call her a cheater, others cheer. For many, this moment is a long-awaited victory. These boys have tormented the student body with their magic-laced balls for weeks. Elena, to them, has finally brought justice. She laughs awkwardly, claiming it was never her intention to harm anyone. She only wanted to join the game for a little fun. Yet, this humility only increases her praise. Students begin calling her generous and noble. Elena isn't sure how to feel about the adoration. At that moment, Tiara arrives, breathless from running. She has been searching for Elena in the student council room. Elena, seeing the injured boys sprawled out, asks Tiara to use her healing magic. Tiara examines the injuries with concern, wondering who could have caused such chaos. When Elena confesses, Tiara looks confused and troubled. One of the boys, with spiky hair and a defiant spirit, rises to his feet. Despite his injuries, he grins. He declares that he let his guard down but won't lose next time. He challenges her to a rematch. Elena accepts the challenge with ease, confident that she'll never lose to a background character. But then, something shifts in her awareness. As she observes the boy more closely, a realization dawns. His presence is different. The moment he stood up, she felt it. The aura, the energy, the subtle charm. He is not just another student. He's a capture target. A hot-blooded one at that, the type who charges into conflict head first. Somehow she had failed to recognize him earlier, now she knows. This boy isn't a mob character, he's someone significant. Lost in thought, Elena barely hears Tiara calling her. She regains focus and asks if Tiara knows the boy. Tiara shakes her head, clearly unfamiliar with him. She wonders aloud if this group of students is the same group of delinquents that teachers have complained about. Elena responds internally, affirming it. These boys are indeed the school's hooligans. Tiara's lack of recognition relieves her. This means Tiara hasn't formed any attachment or interest in him yet. Elena feels strangely triumphant. As long as Tiara remains unaware of this new rival, Elena still has time, and she's determined to use it. Because no matter what changes in this world, she will find a way to secure the Yuri route and avoid her tragic fate. In the quiet of a corridor, Gawain leans against the wall with a bat in hand, standing directly in front of Elena. She stares at him, stunned. In all her 17 years as a former high school boy, never once did she think she would be kabedoned by another high school boy. The absurdity of the situation is not lost on her. Gawain's tone is loud and intense as he gestures sharply with the bat. Elena doesn't register most of what he says. Her focus is on how bizarre her life has become. He seems angry, maybe frustrated, and demands a rematch. To him, their last match was unfair, something he refuses to let slide. He steps closer, a dangerous smirk forming. Being confronted by a delinquent in this way is quite intimidating. Behind him, a group of students watches the whole ordeal. They shout out, accusing him of harassing Lady Elena. The moment he turns his head toward the crowd, Elena takes her chance and flees. He yells after her, but she doesn't look back. Despite initially answering his invitations to play, Elena always wins, easily. Even after 3 matches, he keeps coming back for more, but she stops responding altogether. It starts to feel like he'll never stop until he defeats her. His persistence becomes exhausting. One peaceful afternoon, Elena sits in the student council meeting room, savoring a rare moment of calm with a cup of tea Tiara offers her. Just as she begins to relax, the door slams open with thunderous force. Startled, she dives under the table. Gawain storms in, eyes scanning the room for Elena. Lance greets him and addresses him by name, Gane Garland. Gawain, full of anger, declares he hasn't come for council matters but for Elena. Lance, curious, asks Elena if they've become close lately. She clarifies that Gawain only challenges her to matches. Gane Garland, son of Count Garland, and a maid, raised away from the children of the official wife. That explains a lot. His rebelliousness, his pride, his need to prove himself. And yet, despite his troubled background, he excels in both magic and studies. No wonder he was recommended for the student council, even if he rarely shows up. At that moment, Elena realizes something important. This is the student Tiara once mentioned, the missing first-year council member she hadn't met yet. Gawain is not just another delinquent with a bat. He's a capture target. And worse, he's the hot-blooded kind with a tragic backstory. Girls love those types. Still, Elena has seen no sign of closeness between him and Tiara. That alone is enough to soothe her, for now. Later, Elena finds herself sitting on a bench in the school park. Tiara joins her as well. Elena's nose bleeds again at the sight of her radiant smile. Without warning, Gawain emerges from the bushes, bat in hand. Elena pleads internally for just one peaceful lunch break. Apparently, that's the only time he can catch her. She sprints away. He gives chase, determined to drag her into another match. She declines firmly again. Trying to escape, she hides in a classroom, but Gawain finds her there too. He won't stop asking for a rematch. She refuses, muttering that he's just too annoying. As she exits, she runs into Percival. He asks if she's heading to the student council room, and they begin walking together through the corridor. He brings up Gawain's relentless challenges, casually suggesting that Elena might consider losing on purpose to end the ordeal. But it's not that simple. Gawain won't be satisfied if she throws the match on purpose. Elena reflects on what she knows. Gawain's skill in magic and studies is all he has to protect his pride, having grown up in a hostile household. Those achievements are the only things holding him together. If stubbornness is the armor forged from that pain, she can't bring herself to shatter it so carelessly. Percival, amused, notes how much she's changed. Elena wonders if she's really acting out of character for herself, or if she's just evolving. Inside the student council room, a new sight stuns her. Gawain is seated quietly doing embroidery. Tiara stands beside him, praising his handiwork. Gawain, in turn, questions her lack of sewing skills, despite being a commoner. Elena enters, still walking beside Percival, and her eyes immediately narrow. Gawain spots her and, predictably, demands a rematch. Elena fumes. Not only has he wormed his way into the council room, but he's also managed to win Tiara's praise while pretending to care about their match. The worst part? He's pulling off that delicate on the inside, rough on the outside look effortlessly. Elena decides it's time to make him suffer, just a little. Percival, sensing her mood shift, remarks that the real Elena is back. She accepts Gawain's challenge, ready to set some conditions. But before she can speak, Lance adds his own. If Elena wins, Gawain has to attend every student council meeting starting tomorrow. That's the exact opposite of what she wanted. She doesn't want him anywhere near the council. Gawain, in return, proposes that if he wins, she must lift the ban on using the magic grounds. Elena scoffs inwardly. He's already forgotten his original reason for bothering her. While they are talking, Tiara sees the bat lying on the ground. She picks it up and glances at it curiously. Galahad interrupts, reminding them that Siegball isn't like regular baseball. Offense and defense vary depending on magical skill. Since Gawain always plays the batter and Elena the pitcher, the outcomes have always favored their respective strengths. Switching roles might lead to a more balanced result. Elena agrees to bat this time. She asks to borrow Gawain's bat, but he hesitates. Before he can make a decision, Tiara arrives with a bat in hand and hands it to Elena. Elena accepts it with a quiet smile. She doesn't exactly dislike Gawain. He's persistent, yes, and irritating, absolutely, but there's something grounded about him. Still, she doubts they'll ever be friends like normal people. She just hopes this match will finally satisfy him. The match begins. Elena readies herself. Gawain hurls the ball with all his strength. She swings. The bat connects, and then it breaks. The ball sails through the air, caught by Galahad. But all eyes are on the shattered bat in Elena's hands. She stands frozen, stunned. Percival calmly concludes that Elena's magic defense was insufficient to absorb the impact, which means Gawain wins. The council room erupts in murmurs. Gawain is overjoyed. For him, this victory, however small, feels monumental. Elena apologizes for breaking his bat. He brushes it off, claiming the bat was old and due to break anyway. He tells her this is just his first win. There will be more. Despite the loss, even Elena must admit it was a clean and well-earned victory. Tiara approaches with a warm smile and praises Elena for her effort. She invites her to spend the afternoon together the following day. Elena is delighted, but she realizes something. She asks Tiara if she's been lonely. Because of Gawain's constant pestering, they haven't been able to spend time together. Tiara confesses that she has. Hearing this makes her heart flutter. It seems the Yuri route is still on the horizon. After that day, once Gawain gets a new bat, the challenges resume. Again and again he comes at her, and again, Elena defeats him. His fierce persistence never fades, and to Elena he remains deeply, endlessly annoying. If they realize she's changed, that she's truly trying to turn over a new leaf, then maybe they'll stop targeting her. Maybe there's still a chance to understand one another. Mailing calls out reminding her she's going to be late. Elena gets ready and heads to the Royal Academia. During the lunch break, she sits with Tiara on their usual bench in the garden. Tiara is cheerful, biting into a banana, while Elena nibbles on a sandwich. Her eyes lock onto the banana. Her heart rate spikes. She tells herself it's nothing. It's just a fruit. Tiara probably bought it from a grocer. Nothing suspicious. She calms herself. Still, she can't help but ask about Tiara's lunch habits. Tiara casually responds that she simply felt like eating a banana today. It happens. Elena internally scolds herself for being so paranoid. Tiara is sweet, innocent, and completely unaware of the chaos swirling beneath the surface of this world. But Tiara suddenly looks uncomfortable. She finishes her banana quickly and suggests they return to class. As they walk through the corridor, Elena watches in disbelief as Tiara casually drops the banana peel onto the floor, right in front of her. She freezes. Her suspicions explode into certainty. She calls out to Tiara, heart pounding with a strange mix of betrayal and horror. Tiara, clearly startled, turns around. She seems confused. She doesn't even know why she placed the peel there. She just felt like doing it. Elena's mind races. This is it. Proof. Tiara is not acting of her own will. The system of the game is guiding her, subtly influencing her choices. It confirms what Elena has feared all along. Tiara is the protagonist of Princess Knight, the one who follows the script, the one destined to attract all the male leads. And now, Elena understands something even more unsettling. It's not just handsome boys that stand in her way. Even the game's mechanics, its events, and its system itself are her rivals. If she wants to reach the Yuri route, she'll have to fight against fate itself. Tiara stands beside a stone wall of the academy building, the sun filtering through the high windows. Just as she tilts her head, a bucket tips over from above. Water cascades downward in a rush. In a blur, Elena rushes forward and yanks Tiara out of the way, saving her from the drenching. Relief floods her as she confirms that Tiara's clothes are dry and her expression untouched by shock. Someone, hidden from view, watches them from the building, eyes cold and unblinking. Later, in the garden, Tiara sits among a group of girls, the hum of conversation brushing against the midday air. But the tone changes. One of them sneers, asking how a commoner like Tiara could possibly win favor from the student council. Her words hang heavy and sharp. Elena arrives just in time and reprimands the girls for their actions. Their eyes widen, unsure whether to explain or flee. They mumble denials and quickly run away. Elena watches them retreat, calling them a pesky bunch under her breath. She turns to Tiara. Her voice is calm but firm. Tiara offers a trembling nod and a soft expression of gratitude. Even now, the echoes of hostility linger in the air. Another day passes. Tiara walks down the academy stairs, her steps light. Suddenly, a force from behind pushes her forward. She tumbles. At the base of the staircase, Elena catches her just in time. Their eyes meet. Elena's gaze softens, filled with warmth. She wonders how Tiara manages to be this klutzy all the time, and then remembers, this is no ordinary world. Tiara is the game's protagonist, and someone is still targeting her. Watching from a distance, partially hidden, stands a girl, frustrated at yet another failed attempt. Later during class, a letter slips onto Elena's desk. It's sealed with a red wax stamp. Her fingers hesitate as she breaks the seal and unfolds the letter. The message is short. Someone is waiting for her on the east-facing rooftop. A thrill runs down her spine. She wonders, could this possibly be a love letter? Then immediately scoffs at herself. She's read too many romantic books. Something like that is simply impossible. After class, curiosity wins. Elena climbs the stairs to the rooftop. There, against the fading sky, stands a girl holding an umbrella. Elena recognizes her instantly. Alicia Cervantes, Count's daughter, genius Villainess, one of the enemy characters. A girl who never once got along with her in the past. Elena doesn't like her, never did, and the feeling is mutual. Alicia's tone is harsh. She confronts Elena with rage simmering behind her words, demanding an explanation for why Elena interfered with her carefully laid plans. According to her, Tiara is an eyesore and Elena has betrayed their shared disdain. Elena groans internally. To think she was expecting something romantic. How ridiculous. But Alicia's accusations are troubling. She keeps referring to a plan. Elena replays the recent incidents in her head. The bucket of water, the girls in the garden, the stairway push. All of them engineered. And the culprit behind each one stands before her now. It all fits. The doodled notes, the stolen shoes, the pranks by the passing boys, Alicia was behind it all. Elena tells her to stop. It's pathetic, cruel, and beneath her. But Alicia remains defiant, repeating her question. Why is Elena protecting Tiara? Elena gives her answer, simple and honest. She has grown close to Tiara, that's all. She's helping a friend who's being wronged. Alicia stares, stunned. She remembers the old Elena, her old Onisama, someone sharp, strategic, and cruel. This Elena is different, kind, unfamiliar. Elena acknowledges it. Yes, she has changed. She's glad for it. She urges Alicia to stop, to try talking to Tiara instead. Perhaps they could even become friends. The thought stuns Alicia into silence. Her composure breaks. She asks who Elena really is. Tears flood her eyes. She mumbles that her One-sama would never say such things. The very suggestion wounds her. In her mind, Elena is being deceived. It has to be Tiara's fault. Her rage surges again, convinced Tiara is manipulating Elena into betrayal. Not long after, Alicia charges toward Tiara in the corridor, claiming she'll banish her from the academy using a special technique. By sucking someone's blood, she can make them her subordinates. But before she can reach her, Elena throws herself between them. Both girls fall to the floor. Elena protects Tiara again. She meets Alicia's eyes and tells her that this isn't the person she wants to be anymore. She's changed, truly. And if Alicia keeps hurting Tiara, then Elena will become her enemy. Alicia breaks down again. She hadn't acted out of personal malice. She was following the cues of the old Elena. Elena realizes the truth. Alicia's vendetta isn't even hers. It's a shadow of the influence she left behind before recovering her memories. She apologizes. She promises she'll never be that person again and swears that no one will ever harm Tiara on her watch. She wipes Alicia's tears gently, offering her an alternative. They can still be friends. There's no need for schemes or cruelty. Alicia, overwhelmed, asks if Elena truly means it. Elena answers that she does, but only if Alicia never harms Tiara again. Alicia weeps again. She claims her Onisama, her ideal, would never be this kind, and if she is, then maybe she's no longer the Elena she once knew. Elena sighs, baffled. A maiden's heart, she thinks, is so terribly complicated. Tiara joins them, offering to cast a calming spell on Alicia. Alicia admits she suspected Elena had changed, but never wanted to believe it. Yet now, faced with the truth, she confesses it. This new Elena is lovely in her own way. She quietly decides she'll no longer interfere, and that from now on she will watch over her One-sama from the shadows. When Alicia is gone, Elena sits alone in the corridor. She gazes at the letter. She can't help but feel a little disappointed. It wasn't a love letter after all, but then again, in its own twisted way, maybe it was.
Here I am.